Oh, oh my God! Did you just see your picture on the bottom? Oh my God! Okay, hello everybody. Welcome, welcome to Energy Transformation Week. My name is Tara Taglianti. I'm an energy transformation artist, and well, I'm here with conscious comedian Katie Rubin as she makes her face in the. How are you doing that? When you talk, I'm going to do it. Okay, go. Say
Okay.
hi.
All right. Hi guys. My name My name is Katie Rubin. That's awesome what you just did. Can they see? Okay, so they can see both of us right now, right?
Yeah, but when we're talking, they see you bigger.
Oh,
And
okay. And then I have a question. Which
so,
side of your face is my image on? Which side of your face am I on your left or your right when they come up next to each other?
oh, you're on my left.
I'm on your left. So if I go like this, I'm pointing to you?
Okay,
Or do
hold
I
on.
have to go like this?
No, no, no. Yeah, like that, like that. Yeah.
This one.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So
But,
I needed to know that for future reference. Thank you.
when I'm talking, if you do the pointing thing, it's like this. If you do it right now, if you point, yeah, yeah. But you gotta move your hand back a little bit more in front of your face. Now, yeah. And I'm not sure if they're seeing what we're seeing. But anyway, this is a really
All right.
Google Hangouts 101, everyone. This is how we're doing it.
Okay. What's up, Tara? What are we talking about? Go. I'm ready.
Yeah, Energy Transformation Week. So, what if you what if you really can create what you'd like to see in the world? You know, so basically, I met Katie recently. I met her at the Global Bars, Gary's Global Bars class, like in November, and it was a lot of fun. We traded that day, and what's really cool is that I used to do, and sometimes I still do. I used to do comedy. I used to do drag comedy, and I used to host shows down here in South Florida and do all kinds of like stage work and and all that stuff, improv, acting, you name it, sketch comedy. So I'm really well versed with the kind of stuff that Katie's into. And then it just turns out that we're both energy workers. And, she has I think you have your story is a little bit similar to mine right now. She's getting coffee.
I'm with you. I hear all the words.
No,
I'm with you.
I get it. I get it. Katie, every time I interview Katie Rubin, she's doing something. Like on the radio show, on my radio show, she was going through LAX security, and we got to hear what that chamber, the X-ray machine, looked like. We got to hear. Wait, we got to hear it. We didn't get to see what it looked like. We get to hear it. So and also get to hear her get pat down by security. And I'm sure that was a lot of fun. But anyway, so Katie has like a similar story, so I would like to. We're gonna like talk about that, and I have a feeling that this interview is gonna be a little silly, just because I'm already in a giddy mood. So, without further ado, Katie, tell me about how. So, were you a comedian first, and then you became a healer, or how did it all come about?
Okay. So, the reason I do things while we're talking is because there's always such a long time when there's an introduction of before we're talking that I'm like, all right, well, this is the part where I like tie my shoes and go to the airport and write a novel, and then then we'll start teasing. I'm teasing you. Comedy jokes. I love you. I was a person. Okay, so let's see. I went to college for acting. My undergrad degree is in acting. My thesis that I wrote was my first solo show, except it wasn't a solo, 5 people. It was the play, and there were 5 people in it, but every person in it played an aspect of my own personality. And I recognize retrospectively, I was starting to work out this whole thing of who am I and what is it to be a person. And I've just always been a person on a spiritual quest who was asking deep questions. I was always doing it through creative arts. Then I graduate and I move to New York City, and I think I'm going to go be a big actor. I'm going to do Broadway, and that's the thing I want to do. Turns out at 23 I get sober. I'm living in Manhattan, and I recognize that I have a serious chemical dependency problem. I have a severe eating disorder that is endless. It's like an endless nightmare day after day. I'm constantly in thoughts of or relationship to thoughts of food addiction. Which diet am I going to be on? When am I going to be a size 0? You know, they'll love me when I'm thin. Once I'm thin, everything will be okay. Like just the whole thing of that, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that goes on in a really intense way. Like I had it to the degree that bulimics have it, like people who binge and purge, but I never purged, but I was just insane. So I see a therapist, and the woman says, you might want to consider this thing called sobriety. Because the way I was drinking was nuts.
Yeah.
And the way I was, you know, smoking pot and like just using whatever came near me. And I was always a person in college who, like, I did really well in school. Like I spoke at my graduation, like, you know, and whatever. I went to a really prestigious school, but I partied as hard as I worked.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or I knew a lot of people like that at one time. It was just like work hard, play hard, and you know, some of the most functional people out there are popping pills and doing all kinds of shit. It's amazing.
It is amazing. Yeah, that's one thing I always say to people who get down on themselves about when we get sober, things kind of slow down, at least for a while, because you're like adjusting to a new way of being. And they're like, I'm not doing anything, and everybody's doing more, and I go through that still. But then it's always like, yeah, but think about how much more you could be doing if you know, were taking a bunch of pills and getting high every night. It's like it's just how people regulate their energy.
Yeah.
So this is a perfect segue, actually, into talking about the energy work. So what happened for me was, the short version is, I get sober, and I do the whole 12-step thing pretty intensely for 7 years. I develop a meditation practice. I do transcendental meditation twice a day. And I do that for like 4 years. I'm doing TM, and I'm like consistent and religious about it, and I take it seriously. I'm doing all this stuff because I am sober and I can feel everything.
Yeah.
There are no more buffers, right? So I don't have the option, like if I feel uncomfortable in a social situation, I just have a drink and that'll just calm it down. I'm forced to look at myself and go, well, why am I uncomfortable in this situation? If my relationships are getting off, I can't just go get high to make it better. I have to, if you get sober and you're actually a person who's been in addiction, so if you choose to, suddenly everything's in your face about who you are and what is the meaning of it all and how do things work and how do you have relationships and what the fuck. So for me, I was always so sensitive, you know, and I'm sure you relate to this, Tara, but like my whole childhood, I perceived things. Like, for example, when my parents got divorced when I was 18, it came as a great surprise to my mom.
Yeah.
It just really, it was as if he just moved suddenly out of the wind. And when he left, I was like, of course he's leaving. Like and in fact, I have a journal entry from when I was a kid where I outlined the reasons my parents should get divorced. Yeah. And I could articulate for you then. I was like, oh, because they don't communicate and they don't understand each other and they have different priorities. Like I had it all figured out, and her issue is this and his is that. But they couldn't see it. He was just like, I gotta go. And she was like, where are you going? And I was like, I understand. Yeah, and so that kind of sensitivity and awareness was what I was like trying to dim down and nullify. Plus I had tons of fucking creative energy. I just have always been like, as you can see as I move and talk right now, I just have a lot of fucking energy. And when you're not parented in a way that teaches you that that's good and that you're okay and that you're lovable as a big, dynamic, complex being. You know, this is basic psychology 101. And please let me clarify, this is not about me making my parents wrong. I love my parents. My parents did the best they could. they weren't exactly ready for a kid like me, okay? And
It's
they
like
did the
it's like people do the best that they could with the knowledge and the
yeah,
tools that they had,
yeah,
and
yeah, exactly. So
so
that happens, and then so there I am, and I'm about 7 years sober, right? And I've been doing TM, and I'm serious about it. Now at this point, I have been to every kind of freaking healing training, class, workshop, seminar you can like think of, right? I have done.
yeah,
There's a line in my solo show where I say I was like cranial, sacral, somatic, chiropractic, polarity balancing, toning, meditation, serenity baths, mud packs on my eyes, a spa, retreat. It's all about what you eat. I've done all that shit, right? And I did it like
yeah.
not
I
like
love it. It's like the rhythm of that is even starting to rhyme. Like Katie, like that's
yeah. Well, I mean a line that
every
that's a line from one of my solo shows. It's a
yo.
written line that I say.
It's every time I hear that your stream of that, it's kind of obviously it's improv, but it's like different, and it's like getting really
No,
amazing.
it's not improv. That's what I'm telling you. It's a
Oh,
written line that's in my third solo show I wrote. It's
cool.
actually like 6 times longer than that, but that's
Yeah,
the intro of it.
I love it.
So, and cut to my solo shows, by the way, so I have 4 solo shows that I've been touring the country with for 10, 15 years, and those shows are all built on poetry, and they're comedy shows where I play like 10 different characters in each show, but the story, the narrative is written around these poems that are mystical poems, and they're about God, and they're about beingness, and they're about consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, there I am. I'm 7 years sober. I've tried every system. There's my face. I've tried every system. I've done everything, whatever, and I'm miserable. Simultaneously, I had at that time a pretty effective arts career. Like I wrote my first solo show in my first 7 years of sobriety, toured it for 10 years. It did really well in a weird, magical, mystical way that I couldn't control. It just happened. Like people would just fly me places and have me do it, and I didn't have to work hard for it. It was very strange
Yeah.
and very cool. And I was like totally in alignment, with
Yeah.
whatever I was supposed to be in alignment with.
Yeah.
And I was dying inside.
Got it.
Like, and I'm telling you, I had done everything, I thought. So this series of, you could say coincidences or synchronistic miracles occurs. And I wind up at this healing school. And I go to this 3-year healing school. I could tell you the story of the synchronistic things that occurred that got me there if you want to hear it. It's pretty amazing. But the point is,
Yeah.
what happened at the healing, you want to hear that or no?
It might be for another. I mean, whatever because there's other stuff that I know we both said we wanted to touch on. So it's like,
Okay, great.
whatever you could do the short version of that, like.
Great.
I
Okay,
wanna,
so one day I pray for help, and like this crazy series of miracles happens where a friend from the past shows up out of nowhere and invites me to a thing, and I'm like, I'm not going to any more things, and I'm not doing any more workshops, but I'm like miserable and depressed. They think I'm bipolar. They have me on all these medications.
Yeah.
I'm super successful. My show is touring all over the world. I'm playing lead roles in like big musicals. Like I'm doing well.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking a mess. I have a triangle of cement through the middle of my body that starts here, goes down, and I can't soften it. And I do fucking meditation all fucking day, and it's not fucking doing anything for me. So miracles happen, and I wind up at this healing school that's Sufi-based. Okay, so for your viewers who don't know, Sufism is a mystical arm of Islam. So it's like Kabbalah to Judaism or Christian mysticism to Christianity. Okay, it's the mystical arm of the religion of Islam. So I'm not interested at this time in Sufism at all. I'm certainly not interested in religion at all. I've always been kind of anti-religion. I don't want to be in somebody's dogma. I'm not going to follow some rules because you fucking say I should. Like, no. But something about the way the president of the school is talking when he speaks at this event I go to tells me in my being, this is the place where you're going to get the healing you're looking for. You got to go to this.
Yeah.
So it's a super expensive school. I don't have any money. I start praying for the money. Money shows up in a crazy, another miracle story where literally the money fell from the sky, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not true. Tens of thousands of dollars falls from the sky, and the school is just paid for by itself, which was crazy. The last year of it is another story. I go to the school. The triangle in the center of me is ripped out of the middle of me. All the trauma from the childhood abuse that happened not from my parents but from some other people, the sexual abuse, the rage, the self-hate, the disconnect from spiritual source is completely obliterated, and my connection with source just becomes a thing. I get that God, I'm pointing to my chest, God is here. Like God, I have an access portal to God all the time. I am the energy of God. God becomes me. And I get this in my being. It's not a concept anymore, right?
Yeah.
So in so doing, at this healing school, the purpose of the healing school, they would say, is threefold. You can come there to heal yourself, you could go there to get to know God better, or you can go there to become a healer. And for me, all of those things happened. So I start doing Sufi healing work in the world, and I start offering myself as a Sufi healer. And to answer your question, I hope, I have always been energetically sensitive and energetically aware. I always knew there was a bigger realm of consciousness. There was a deeper source of love. There was a way to clear any energy in our being that was blocking anything from occurring or any movement forward that needed to happen. I always, since I was a kid, I knew. In fact, I remember when I was 16, I was talking about this on a different podcast. Recently, I had a boyfriend who was like a super not spiritual dude, who was like a drug dealer guy, and he said, "What do you want to do with your life?" One time we were on the phone, and I said, "I just have this image of myself at a podium talking to lots of people about unity and how the the notion of separation is an illusion, and how we're all one energy." And I said to him, like I'm in my room right now, and I'm looking at the ceiling of my room, and I had these glow stars in the ceiling, and I was like, I am the stars, and the stars are me, and you're Metallica, and Metallica is the cat, and the cat and I are pizza. It's all one thing. This illusion of separation is a lie. And he goes, this is a true story, he goes, "Wow, I just want to eat pizza and watch football." So we broke up, and then, yeah, so I've always known, is my point. The thing that the healing school did for me was it pulled out of me that and transmuted within me that which kept me at a distance from the energetic knowingness of what I cognitively already understood. So I got healed in my body and in my consciousness of the things that I knew from my mind could be healed. It moved from the head to the body.
Got it. Yeah. Got it.
That's the short version. I mean, there's tons of, then there were all these, I had like physical illnesses and back injuries and series of illnesses and injuries, one after the other, that would not go away, that Western medicine could not treat. I kept getting in car accidents and hurting my back. And like, the answer for me was always the divine source. Like, every time I would try, it was just always like weird energy healers and God that could help me, and nothing else worked. And then I found Access Consciousness, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Well, how the heck, that's pretty awesome. No, I get it. And hence, and then we meet, woohoo!
Right. Which brings me to, because you asked, like, were you a comedian first, da-da-da. So all through that time that all that was happening, I wrote my first show. It was big. I wrote my second, third, and fourth shows. I moved from Sacramento to the Bay Area to Los Angeles. And so the creativity stuff was always happening. It was just, while the healing school was happening, everything started to shift energetically. So I've always been doing both, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
That's awesome. Yeah. well, okay. So then now, so the title of this talk is, and I hear like an echo, so I'm kind of a little distracted by that. And the title of this is that what if you can't create with like speed? And what I know about you is that you create your shows. You don't depend on anybody else. Like you're not doing them in a bar, obviously. You're like, look, I'm gonna perform comedy, so I'm gonna do it. Bam, and you create it and go. Um, that that's like what I kind of want to talk about is like how like what do you like so obviously through your whole story, it's like what I'm getting is that you're like a total creator of magnitude, right? And it's almost like I haven't met, like I've met, there are people I've met that will just create things and go for it, right? But what would you say to people who are kind of sitting there like they want to create something, but they're hitting that wall, right? Or they're it's like has it ever been a thing for you, or have you always just been able to just and do your shows and go for it? And what would you say to those who like to do that?
Yeah. First of all, I'm wondering, I know you have people listening to stuff. Is there any way we could hang up, call because the connection is so bad I can't actually hear you very well?
Okay. Well, let's see. What can I do here?
What can we ask? So consciousness of this machine and the consciousness of Tara's computer and the consciousness of all the technology, what would it take for you to work easy and smooth for us right now with no drama so that we can hear each other and serve the world by having this conversation publicly?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, sure.
Contribution. 1, 2, 3.
2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Maybe expand out.
Okay.
Oh, how's that? Can you hear me?
What's that now?
Yeah. So can you hear me clear?
What it is there's this delay, so
Yeah.
your mouth moves, and then later the sound happens.
Okay. All right. So, well, what we could do is we have like 10 minutes left, right? We could restart this and it'll on another video, or we just get it doing right now. How does it get any better than that?
Okay, so I can't, you're here like every third word, so I'm just going to keep talking, and then if you have a question for me and I'm talking too much, will you like do this so I can tell that you're like, I'm going to ask you
I got a text. Keep rolling.
Okay.
Expand.
What was the question?
We're like gonna stress each other out. How about a headset?
I don't think that's the issue.
No. Okay. I mean connectivity. Okay. Okay. So ready, everybody? Everybody out there that's listening to this, let's expand out. Like notice, for those of you who are new to this exercise, close your eyes. Just kind of say hello to your body. Now notice about 3 inches away from your body. Now go out about 5 feet in all directions. Fill the room that you're in. Fill the whole house or building that you're in. And now expand out to your town, your city, block, your state, now the country, Go out further, cover the whole floor in all directions, out to outer space, throughout the whole universe and beyond. All right. So from here, like as we're all expanded, everybody just like kind of just chill. Katie, can you hear me?
Yes.
Cool. How does it get any better than that? So we can talk about how does it get any better than that, which is, I know you wanted to hear my, how does it get any better than that story. But guys, how does it get any better than that is a tool from Access Consciousness. And when you say it and you don't answer it or have pictures already how it should get better, or this enables things to show up better. So if you're having a crappy day, you can say, how does it get any better than this? And just let it ride, and things should start to come into your world that's a little bit better. And even if you're having an amazing day, you keep saying, how does it get any better than this? And it just keeps getting better. So how's that? How are you feeling now? How is everything now?
Seems better. Do you want to spend the nice job? Do you want to spend the last few minutes on the question you asked me, or your story about how does it get any better?
Well, okay, so what do you think? Like, where should we go with this? On how does it get?
All right. So the answer to the question that you asked me is like, if what I would say, the short version to people who are stuck or who are wanting to, like, for me personally, I had a period in my life when I was younger where I just didn't question anything. I just graduated college and was like, I want to create, I want to be an actor. And then I was like, oh, you have to audition and wait for people to decide if they choose you to be an actor. And then I was like, that's fucking boring. And then I was like, I have things to say. And I was like, so I want to be a writer. Okay, but I miss acting. So how could I write and act and not have to wait for other people to decide if they want me to be in their stuff? And so I wrote my first solo show, and I created all these characters that I could play that were the exact characters I wanted to play. And I had very specific shit I wanted to do. And so I didn't have to wait and do like 10 different plays to play one character in each play. I did all the characters in one play because I fucking wanted to. And I was just kind of sassy and precocious, and I just did that, okay? And I look back now and I get that really was a gift. At the time I just thought like, this all sucks. I hate the way this world works. I'm not going to sit around until you guys decide if I'm pretty enough to put me in your play. Yeah. Like I know what I'm good at. Let's do this shit. Now, as I went into the world, of course, the whole time I'm battling my own insecurities, and I got my own negative belief systems, and I'm hearing voices in my head that say, like, who do you think you are, and you're not pretty enough, and you're too chubby, and you're too loud, and you're too aggressive, and like my whole life has been a journey of how do we battle those voices. I bulldozed through it because I was stubborn, and I was not willing to like have some life that they fucking said I should have. But then once the healing happened and the clearing happened, I became very soft internally, and it actually became hard for me to bulldoze. Like now I don't operate in the same way. Yeah. And now it's interesting, it's like I've become more subtle and more sensitive and more present and more blah, blah, blah. So for now what I understand is that it's a combination of you get clear about what you want, you start taking, it's like in Access Consciousness we say choice creates awareness. Is that what we say? Yeah. That's what I've always known. I just didn't have words for it. So I would do a thing and then be like, oh, if I'm going to do more of this, I have to call that person and do this email and do these things. So once you take action and take the leap, it's like that spiritual idea, leap and the net will appear. People want to sit cozy in their room, figure everything out in their mind about how it's going to work and how it's going to play out and what things I'll do and who's going to help me and where's the money going to come from. In my experience, it never works that way. You have to get out on stage, make a show, put it somewhere, somebody sees it, and then they ask you to go somewhere else. And then you research, where do other people go do shows? And you put it up, and you just fucking go. You know, like, and I'll stop talking right now after I say this sentence, which is, every time I've tried to understand what the system outside of me is and fit myself into it, everything falls apart and does not work, and I'm broke. But every time, this is just for me, I don't know if this is true for the rest of the world.
Right.
Every time I decide, you know what, I'm going to create what I feel like creating right now, and I'm going to find a place to say these words, and I'm going to invite 10 fucking people, and we'll see what happens. 50 people show up, and it goes 100 times better than it would have if I had spent all day going to some audition with my pretty hair and my lip gloss on. Like, it just doesn't work for me that way. And believe me, I try, man. I fall into the trap sometimes, all the time. I'm like, it doesn't. I have to be creating new systems and living into them, or it doesn't work out for me. And it bugs me sometimes, but it's real. And then I'm asking, what's right about this I'm not getting, which is another access tool. And I'm getting it these days. You know what, Tara, the answer to that is, like, what I get right now, what's right about me being this way that I'm not getting is that I get to be an inspiration to other people, because people come up to me after my shows all the time, and they're like, oh my God, thank you, you helped me. I don't think if I did a Fitbit commercial, I would have a lot of people thanking me for changing their life. I might. And I'm not going to lie to you, I will take a Fitbit commercial. I will take it. I will do it, because there is good money in Fitbit. But it's not who I be. Do you understand? It's not who the essence of this is. Now I'm done talking.
No, hey, that's awesome. Like, and I totally like applaud you. And this is like for everybody out there, even in show business and whatever business you're in. It's not about waiting. Like, it's like, why leave it up to somebody else to choose you to do anything? It's like, if you would like to create, it's like if you're someone that wants to see more kindness on the planet, if you want to see more joy on the planet, then create something that creates that. Like, it's kind of like it's up to us, you know what I mean? We're the ones that are here. And rather than wait for somebody else to do it first, we might as well just create what we'd like to see in the world, on the planet. And it's like, Katie, that's like what you're super good at. And, you know, I mean, I've been there, done that with the whole, like, audition, and then, you know, if I bring 20 people to the open mic night, that's, like, really amazing. But, you know, like, why not just create a show somewhere else? I get to keep all the money. You know, it's like I get paid. I don't need to worry about someone that needs to cover their whole staff or anything like that and get a cut, and then hope that I'm good enough in their eyes for what my stuff is speaking to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why leave it up to somebody else's judgment when it's happening on, totally. It's happening on all levels. I mean, if you look at what the big, huge name people are, I mean, Louis C.K. we're all looking up to Louis C.K. because Louis C.K., for 100 million years of his career, has never done it the way anyone else does it. He always stays true to what feels true to him. And I'm not inside of him, and I don't know him personally. But you watch what he's doing, and it's clear. The guy's making choices that feel right to him. Like, he got I think there were 2 pilots of TV shows he was supposed to do, and he did the first one. He was like, I can't, because they were terrible. And he could have had his own TV show 10 years ago. But they were terrible, so he didn't do it. And he waited until he had his own fan base, and I don't know if this was planned on his part, but I don't know that he cognitively had this plan, but the way it rolled out is that now the guy is super autonomous. He's got the most creative freedom in the industry of anybody, and it all happened because he was patient with being willing to do it off the grid. And that's what I'm hearing you talk about. It's like I've just logically, it always seems to me like, why would I do, like, if you go to Los Angeles and do what the stand-up comedians are doing there, I think it's fucking insane.
because you're supposed to like do all these tiny little shows, and there's 10 people there, and you're at a bar, and maybe somebody sees you do something. And it's good for networking because you do meet people, and it's great to meet their comics, and people see you, and people get things from those things, and that's all good. But I'm like, you just did that every night of the week. When if you had marketed all week for 1 week, you could have a show on Friday night that's all yours. You did an hour and a half instead of 7 minutes, and you got all your friends to come, and they get their friends to come. Now you have what we call following, and then you can build on that. And now you're like making a difference and talking to people and saying something substantive rather than just like, oh, 7 minutes, bye. Like, what is that? What is that?
Yeah, yeah.
That's just how I feel about it. And I sometimes think I'm like totally insane, Tara. But all I know is that it doesn't work for me. Again, to try to fit into systems, it never has worked for me.
And you know something, it's like that's something that the creators on the planet like all deal with is that, you know, like that thing, hooray for the crazy ones, because the people who think they can change the world or crazy enough to think they can change the world are often the ones who do. So, I mean, you know, like on that note, is there anything that you would like to leave off? Like if you could maybe speak to like a you that was like before all of this, you know what I mean? Like what would you say to that person? Like, hey.
Really, yeah. Really quick, what is there any way we could just keep going and not stop at half an hour?
All right, I gotta get going I have a place that I need to be at. So if you want to go for 10 more minutes.
Okay, yeah, because I really want to hear your story about how does it get any better, because I think it's relevant to what we're talking about. So what I want to say, so to answer your question, I mean, I guess I feel like I would just say always trust that thing in your belly or wherever it is for you in your body that says like, I bet I could do this. I wonder if I did this thing, what would happen then? Maybe I could, that thing where you get that, maybe we could, like for example, right now I've got something on the table where I might be creating some kind of class/show tour in Fiji. Like a friend of mine is a travel agent, and she's like, if you get 10 people together, we'll take you go to Fiji for free. You don't have to pay. And I'm like, oh, and I could teach a class there, and I could do shows, and da-da-da. So, like, the reason I'm doing that is because I have that feeling in my stomach of, like, oh, my God, that would be amazing. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like, I want to travel right now for free and teach people while we're doing it. So I guess what I would say to people is, like, if you have that inkling that, like, it could happen, what if this thing, like, you get a creative burst of, like, what if this? That is the thing to follow. And follow it until, don't follow it and then it gets a little hard so you stop. It's going to get hard. It always gets hard. When it gets hard, that's the time to do energy clearing around it, if you believe in that stuff, or that's the time to get some help from a friend and talk it out. Yeah, pocket, clear it, whatever. But don't stop that. My master teacher guy would say,
hey, can we expand out
something?
Maybe. You're coming in a little bit broken up, so let's expand out again. Everybody watching, let's go right out to where we were the first time this thing kind of chilled out. All right. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was good before.
All right. Yeah, because we're a little bit choppy, so I just wanted to stop it. So check it out. I gotta get going, but I'm gonna make this long story short. How does it get any better than this story, right? Okay, really quick. I was driving with a friend, and my car broke down. And before I completely lost it and would do my default, which is freak out and yell and scream at my car and lose my friend, I pretty much just was like, I'm going to do something different here. And I was like, how does it get any better than this? I looked over my left shoulder, and across the street there was a mechanic. And then I was like, oh, shit, how does it get any better than that? And I out of my car. I walked over, and the guy who owns the shop was out there, right? And I was just like, hey, man, I was like, my car broke down. I got to get to dinner. I'm late. Can you help me? And he was like, sure. Within like 2 minutes, he had two guys working on my car in a half an hour. Like, I just kept saying it over and over and over. How does it get any better? How does it get any better? How does it get any better? My car was drivable within like a half an hour. I was on the road, and I made it to dinner like totally on time. So the thing about this, right, and this whole everything that we did today on this interview, we used so many tools to kind of clear the lines, clear the energy on the line, and how does it get any better than that? It's just a way to get things to kind of get better and to create something greater. So with that, Katie, how can people see you? What's your website, and like where can they get on your email list and stuff like that?
Go to, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. Once again, I feel like when you and I talk, like we're just getting started when the whole thing is over. I feel like there's a lot more we can delve into to really help people out. So if you want to do more, I'm so I love what you're doing, and I really support it. So thank you for having me on. KatieRubin.com, KatieRubin.com. My email is K as in kiss, L as in love, Rubin, Rubin, @gmail.com. You can also go to highertruthhealing.com for my healing website, and check me out on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. I got a lot of crazy, funny, wacky videos there, and I'd love for you to see them. And thank you for having me, Tara.
You're welcome. All right, guys, this is it for day 2 of Energy Transformation Week. Tomorrow we have body worker Catherine McIntosh, and that's going to be a really fun interview. We're going to be talking all about bodies and how they're always talking to you and communicating with you with magic, and how does it get any better? All right, goodbye, everyone. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Bye.